Hi, lovelies. Thank you so much for joining me again. This is the free weekly reading for the month of June, and we're looking at June the 5th through June the 11th of 2017. Okay, so we've got some major big things coming up this week. We're still in Gemini season. So what does that mean? There's going to be some big things centered around communication, travel, and our siblings. Like I said last week, with the siblings, it's like all or nothing there. You're either celebrating with them or there's some big issues that are coming into play. You guys are either fighting or you're trying to resolve some issue going on there. With communication, make sure that the information that you're receiving is correct. Double check. Look through your resources, make sure that the information you're receiving is right, especially if you're going to be taking this information and giving it out to other people. Make sure that what you're receiving and giving is correct so that you're not just passing around crap. And also too, with rumors, be careful. Do not spread a rumor. Do not talk shit about people this week. If you have a problem, go and deal with it head on, face on with the person. That's always the best way to deal with your problems. Is it easy? No. Is that something that I love to do? No, I really don't like confrontation. But during this time, if you got a problem with somebody, just go up and speak to them. Hopefully they'll be nice and open to it. Okay, so with it being Gemini season and those things going on, know that Gemini is also an air sign. So that means they're super, super mental. This is all about their mind is going a million miles a minute every single day, every single second of the day until they sleep. And then it shuts off for like a hot minute, and then they wake back up and it starts up again. These guys are constantly taking in, receiving, and then taking that information that they have and putting it back out there for like 10 different things. These guys have like 100 tabs open at all times, and they can keep track of it. I have no idea how, but they can. So again, that's an air sign. They're a mental sign. They were made for this. But we also have a full moon coming up on Friday, either June the 8th or June the 9th, depending on where you are in the world. And it's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius. Now, Gemini and Sagittarius are opposite signs. Gemini is an air sign, is all about the mental space. Sagittarius is a fire sign. And this place is actually very mental too. They love taking in information, especially if there's a spiritual bent to it, and kind of getting that information back out there to a wider group. Sagittarius is like the world traveler. They love going out there, meeting different cultures, meeting different people, learning new things to expand their mind and their horizons. Where Gemini is more about like the community that they're already in, their neighborhood or the group of people that they already deal with. They love kind of staying close to home in that regard. So yeah, we've got some opposite things going on here. But with the Sagittarius full moon, I feel like there might be some themes, like if anger comes up this week, because it is a fire sign. So if some anger flares up this week, or you find yourself, it's really easy to get angry, do something this week in the Gemini season, and because we're in the Gemini season, and use your hands to get the energy out of your system. I know I said last week, like write a poem or dig in get your hands, dig in the dirt, flick somebody off or punch someone in the throat that's being rude. I don't know. I'm just saying. As long as you're using your hands, you're okay. I don't condone violence, but I'm just saying it's up to you and what you want to do. Just make sure that you're using your hands to expel some of that energy. So there might be a pull this week or a conflict this week about, and Sagittarius is all about their intuition too. They depend on their intuition, where Gemini depends on their mental, like the logical side of themselves. So there might be this fight this week between logic and your intuition and which one to use and where. So just know if that happens this week, honestly, my best advice, and I think the advice that anybody would give you, is to find a balance between the two. Is there a way that you can combine your head and your heart here? Because if you're too much head, like too much up in your head and always thinking logically, there's no emotion in what you're doing. There's no passion there. Like, you got to have some passion for what you're doing in this life, I would hope. And if you're just all passion and you're all heart and you're just like constantly in that, it's hard for you to find a logical way to make your dreams come true. So find a way this week to kind of balance the two out, and work with your head and your heart so that you've got passion for what you're doing and you're putting your passion into your work. But also too, that you find a logical way to go about walking that path forward so that you can really make a difference. Yeah. So just know that you've got it. And as long as you find that balance, you'll be okay. All right. So picked 3 cards for the week ahead. I'm going to pull each card up for you. Use your intuition here and choose the card or the cards that you're drawn to. It doesn't matter how many you pick. Doesn't matter which ones you pick, as long as you choose the ones that you're drawn to. Okay. So here's card number 1. And here's card number 2. And here's card number 3. All right, my beautiful people, take a minute and kind of decide which one you like, which one that you're going for. Overall, I want to say that it's going to be a good week, but there's going to be some intensity to it with the fire sign and then the air. So you're going to be up in your head. Your heart's going to be screaming at you for some stuff. Just make sure that you take some time this week to pay attention to what it is that you truly want. If you tap into your heart and you pay attention to what it's saying to you, and then you use your logical mind to achieve the goal, nothing's going to stop you. Okay. All right. So if you picked card number 1, you get the 2 of Cups, and here's your beautiful card. All right. Awesome. This card's amazing. And I say that about all the good cards, but seriously, I love the 2 of Cups. This card talks about partnerships, working with other people. This can also talk about a new love that surfaced, and you're in that initial in love stage. Especially, it also indicates lust as well. So it may not actually be real love, but you're in that first initial stage where it feels like love, and you're just kind of floating along like she is in the card here, just kind of happy and floating along with it. This could also talk about any type of partnership here. So maybe you finally met your business partner that you need to move forward, and this person is just the tits, you know, like they fulfill the other half, the stuff that you can't do. Somehow this person just picks up everything. You finally found your partner in crime with that. So I feel like this card is talking about like you finding your partner, you finding your perfect match this week. This card can also talk about you loving yourself first and foremost, and realizing that if you have that self-love, everything else will fall into place. So just know that there's the possibility for both there. When cups show up in a reading, they talk about our emotions. Where are we emotionally? Are we stuck in the past? Or are we freaking out about the future? Are we present? Are we here and working with the energy of right here, right now? The only real place we have power in. This card says, yeah, you actually are in the moment. That this is exciting. This card also talks about new beginnings and new adventures as well, too. So you could be embarking on something totally new here. Again, this could talk about love relationship. This could talk about a best friend. This could also talk about a business partnership as well. Or finally falling in love with yourself. If you notice on the card, if you see that rainbow on there, usually when rainbows show up in a reading for me, it talks about that the worst is now behind you. So stop thinking that that bad thing, whatever it was that occurred in the past, say you were in a shitty relationship and the person was super abusive. The past is in the past, and that's not going to occur again. So stop letting that fear drive everything that you do. Does that make sense? Also, too, if you notice the chick in the card, she's like floating around in water. This says to me, when water shows up in a reading, it talks about our emotions, but also talks about our psychic gifts and abilities. She's steeped in her psychic gifts and abilities. She trusts. She's allowing herself to float on the surface there. You know how much trust goes into floating in water, especially if you're a swimmer or if you're terrified of the water. Imagine going in there and just letting go and allowing yourself to float, not knowing where you're going, just allowing the energy to guide you and to take you. I feel like this card is saying to you this week, pay attention to your intuition, pay attention to the psychic impressions that you get. You're trying to guide yourself to something here. And it's also saying go with the flow in terms of that, because I kind of feel as though like letting go and allowing things to happen is going to take you quicker than trying to fight the current and do what you want to do, what you have in your brain. And if you just kind of go with the flow, you're going to get what you want anyways. So chill out and allow things to just happen as they're supposed to. And she's floating towards the left, which talks to me in these cards about going towards the future. So allow yourself to float towards your greatness. Allow whatever, it's almost like be receptive and trust in your gifts and abilities, trust in the universe, or trust in God. Whatever that is for you, trust in that, in your higher self, and just know that everything's going to be taken care of. You've got this, and it's going to be a really beautiful week, especially emotionally. There's a feeling there that you finally are in a space where you're happy and you're feeling good. So enjoy and celebrate and do something that makes you happy. And know too that new beginnings are on their way to you, my friend. Good job. Awesome. Yay. Okay. So if you pick card number 2, you got the Hierophant, and here's your beautiful card. I probably butchered that word. I don't even know how you're supposed to say that. The Hierophant? Hierophant? What's the official word? I don't know. Okay, so you pulled a Major Arcana card. When a Major Arcana card shows up, it talks about major transformation, major evolution, major movement forward. So this is going to be a big week for you. This card talks about what I always find most interesting, and it's with this card, especially connected to certain people, when this card comes up, I'm always drawn very first to her chest. If you notice there's an eye right over her heart. So that eye is a sacred symbol. I'm pretty sure it's Egyptian. And it spoke about or talked about the pineal gland, which is technically our third eye, that place where our intuition sits, the place that we go to look for psychic insights and visions and all of that. There's something about that being... Instead of being up here, your third eye's in your heart. So what this card is saying is follow your heart here. You need to follow your heart. You're being guided by something in your heart, something that you've been thinking about, something that's really been deep in your heart for a while now. It's time to do the thing. If you notice in the card too, she's holding this ball of light. It's saying to you to remember what it is that makes you magic here. Remember that light within you. What is that? Bring it to the table with whatever you're doing here. And know that if you bring your gifts and abilities to whatever you're doing, it's just going to take where you are right now and send you into the stratosphere, my friend. Like, you're missing an element. If you've been thinking lately, like, what is it about this job, or what is it about that I'm doing? Like, I love what I'm doing, but it just doesn't feel completely there. Bring all your gifts and abilities to the table. You have to. That's why you're in the space that you're in, so that you can use everything that you're about, or use everything that is a part of you to make this space better in whatever way, shape, or form that takes for you. Remember your inner light and bring it. Also too, if you need help this week about, if you get angry or irritated, again, we got the full moon in Sagittarius. It is a fire sign. These guys are spicy. Just get out into nature. If you notice in the card, there's a whole bunch of trees. There's some water in the background. She's in nature. So make sure that you get out there, get close to the water, get by the trees, climb rocks, do something active to get the extra pent up energy out of you this week. But this card also talks about exploring new things and really going out there and taking chances and taking risks with trusting in and knowing that you've got this and following what your heart is telling you to do. So if there's anything right now that you wanted to try that you haven't ever done, or something that you're interested in that you haven't given a chance yet, now is the time this week. You're kind of being called to go and follow that thing. And that I feel as though that thing will lead to other things as well. So it's like, I don't know, say you've always wanted to throw pottery or something. You go take a pottery class, you get on the wheel and you realize, holy shit, I actually have an eye for this. And then it starts to lead to other things. So just know that whatever you're drawn to do is your soul calling to you in some way, shape, or form. It's time to answer that call. Remember your light. Remember who you are. Bring it to the table and make everything better that way. Okay? You got it. And this could be a huge week. Good job, though. You're going to kick some ass, my friend. Okay, and then finally, if you pick card number 3, you get the 4 of Swords, and here's your beautiful card. All right. So, when swords show up in a reading, they talk about our mental space. Where are we mentally? Are we always stuck in the past? Are we always freaking out about the future? Or are we present in this moment, manifesting the things that we need right here and right now, the only place we really have power? Just know with the 4 of Swords, this is kind of saying to you to make sure that you take care of your needs, that you retreat from the world and you retreat from the things happening right now. You need some solitude, you need some silence so that you can hear properly what's going on, so that you can follow that insight, so that you have the clarity that you need, so that you can make the choices that you need. If you notice on the card too, she's looking towards the right, which talks about the past. Her body's facing towards the future, but her head and her face is faced towards the past. I feel like there's going to be a call from the past this week for you. Whatever that call is, remember it's in the past where it needs to be. The person or the situation or whatever happened there, if it was meant to be, it would be happening for you right now. Stop going to that space. It's almost like, if this is a call to healing, or this is a call to forgive and to heal, then absolutely go there, forgive and heal. But if somebody's trying to come up from the past and restart something, don't do it. I just feel as though it's not going to make you happy. Especially think about the way things ended the last time. So this is about a love relationship or even a friendship or even a business partnership. If things broke up the last time, remember why that happened. Granted, people can change, people can do better, people can really change their lives and do better. But their actions are going to speak about everything. So what I would suggest is to take your time with that. If someone's coming up from the past, asking to reconnect with you again, especially after a bad breakup, whatever the situation was, watch their actions before you say yes to anything. So if you go to meet them, see what this is going to take some time. Watch their actions and see what they do, because their actions speak way more than your words ever will. Somebody can come back and say, I've totally changed and like blah, 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 and just spit all this beautiful stuff at you that you've been waiting to hear. But then in their actions, they're the exact same person. They've changed nothing. They just don't want to be by themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? So pay attention to motivations, pay attention to what this person is about. Remember who they are and what happened the last time before you say yes to anything. Always take care of yourself. And especially if there's abuse of any kind, do not go back. I don't care. Don't go back, friend. You don't deserve that. I feel like you've grown since that point. You're no longer that person that allows those things to happen too. So just make sure that if that happens this week, that you know who you are, stand in your power, and don't let something from the past mess you up again. I kind of want to say too, there's 3 swords there. So there might be 3 situations, or there might be 3 people, or there's something with the number 3 coming up from the past. So just make sure to pay attention to that and what that means for you. Because saying like going forward, like looking towards the future where her body is pointed towards, and there's this 1 sword in front of her. I feel like there's just one way for you to go from here. You know what you've got to do. Don't listen to that call from the past, especially if it's abusive or crazy. Do what you have to do for yourself this week. You may have to walk this road alone just for a little while longer. Do you know what I'm saying? Also too, in the past, I feel like this is a big thing about relationships. There's a full moon in the background. When full moons show up in a card, they talk about things coming to a culmination, but also the relationships with others and with ourselves. So yeah, there's going to be a big theme of relationships, and we got that full moon on Sunday or Friday. So just know that relationships are going to be a big deal this week. Something big is going to be coming up from them. You're going to have stuff from the past, but just know that you can handle it, and that remember who you are, so that somebody, if they try to, I just feel like really weird about this. Like if somebody tries to convince you otherwise or tell you that they've completely changed, just look for their actions. Don't let words sway you, where the actions really are going to speak to who they are and what has actually changed. Final thing, if you notice in the background, it looks like there's some frozen water, some ice in the background. So there's definitely some frozen emotions. There's definitely some pain associated with the stuff in the past. So if this person comes up and you know it's not a good situation, what I would suggest doing is going and talking with a therapist or a trusted friend or even a grief counselor to kind of help you through this, to process those painful emotions, to finally cut the cords of attachment to the past and to let that shit go so that you can be free, so that you're not holding on to this frozen pain, you know, like, and I kind of want to say, I know a lot of people associate like pain with like fire and anger and all that stuff, but I kind of want to say deep emotional pain is more like ice. That's frozen. That's cold. There's a sting to it. Do you know what I mean? Where it kills what it touches. It takes the warmth away. It takes the life out of you. So this week, just make sure that if stuff from the past is coming up and you feel those painful emotions surfacing, get the emotional and mental support that you need, and that you deserve, because you don't have to do this all by yourself. Do you know what I mean? And again, just pay attention, remember who you are and that you've got this. And worst case scenario, just retreat from everything and just go spend some time with yourself so that you can figure out what it is that you truly want. And I want to remind you again that you've got this, my friend, and that better things are on the horizon. So don't worry, okay? All right. And then the stone I chose this week with green fluorite. And see if I can get it up there. It's kind of like, fluorite looks a little waxy sometimes, kind of like calcite does. And fluorite actually comes in multiple colors. It can be like white, yellow, green, purple. I chose green fluorite this week because, all right, so fluorite is actually a mental stone. It talks about, our mental spaces and making sure that everything's working properly in there and that all connections are made properly and everything's flowing nicely, and that we can make the connections in our head and that we're thinking and processing like we should be. The green fluorite's actually connected not only with your mind, but the green color connects with your heart. So that's what I was talking about this week, this mind-heart connection. Make sure that you find that balance there between the Sagittarius full moon and this Gemini season. What is that balance? And I think my advice is finding that head-heart balance, and this stone will help you to do that. It'll help you to tap into your heart so that you're following your intuition and then thinking logically about steps you can take to move forward and really achieve your dreams and your goals. So just know this week, if you need help with that, go grab the biggest chunk of green fluorite that you can, and that will help you towards your goals and achievements, my friend. All right, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope to God it made sense. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Give me feedback, or let me know which cards you picked, and I'll let you know what the card meaning means for you. And thank you guys for showing up every week, for watching the weekly, for reading the weekly, for sharing, for just being generally amazing. You guys freaking rock. All right, you guys, I hope you have an amazing week. And remember, this is your week. Make it an amazing one. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.